Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great.
Just like cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer-mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Oh, we got Pac-Man, I think. Got Brian the Red here. I'm Radical Russ. Welcome to Toker Talk Radio.
Hi.
Glad to have you here.
You're alert, bitches.
We're hanging out. We got some, what was it? Sour lemon? Is that what we're smoking?
Yeah, that's what you got right there.
Lemon sour.
Lemon sour.
Whatever. That's rated at 18% THC, 0.08 CBD, 0.16 CBN.
Yeah. Well, and of course the CBN increases as the THC decreases during the molecular decomposition process.
Well, everyone knows that. Dr. Pot over here. So, yeah, we've got all sorts of stories coming up. I watched the Real Sports last night. I caught the second half of their story on NFL and marijuana, so I'm going to get it recorded on the DVR and watch the rest of it. But we've got the preview of it coming up a little bit later in the hour. Also, big shout out, kudos, and congratulations to Sharon Ravert and the folks at Peachtree Normal. We've got that 62% poll on decriminalization in Georgia. Yep. 62% support for decriminalization. That's pretty amazing. But before we go much further, I've got to show this video I've got on the screen. This is coming to us from Fox 29 in Philadelphia, my Fox Philly. And, I have my little behind the headlines about, if you want to end the war on drugs, you got to legalize it. Decrim doesn't go far enough. Medical doesn't go far enough, because if it's still illegal, if marijuana is still contraband, the smell of it gives cops an excuse to mess with you. Mm-hmm. And that can lead to situations like this one from my Fox Philly.
Live in Spring Garden with more on this story. Chris.
On the 16-year-old charter school student says he was roughed up by Philadelphia police so bad during a recent arrest it sent him to the hospital with possible injuries that could last a lifetime. We do want to warn you, some of the details of this story are graphic.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just grateful that they just didn't kill him.
16-year-old Darren Manning is still having trouble walking a week later. He suffered serious injuries to his genitals. He claims came at the hands of a Philadelphia police officer during a recent arrest.
I think that was wrong. That was going overboard.
Manning, a sophomore at Mathematics, Civics, and Sciences Charter School, just got off the subway with about a dozen teammates in uniform on their way to play a high school basketball game. He says the group was confronted by police at Broad and Girard. Exactly why the students were stopped and questioned remains unclear. But Manning says he was put in handcuffs, then says during a pat-down, a female police officer squeezed his genitals so hard it ruptured his testicle.
She patted me down again, and then I felt her reach and she grabbed my butt, and then she grabbed and squeezed again and pulled down, and that's when I heard something pop. Like I felt it pop.
Hospital records show Manning spent the following night of his arrest at Children's Hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery. His mother says her son may have permanent injuries preventing him from fathering children.
The doctor told me you need to press charges, and that just alarmed me.
Manning is now facing charges of aggravated assault and resisting arrest.
He don't deserve no felony. He's not a bad child. He's not in the streets.
I believe he was sexually assaulted.
The founder of the school says she was with Manning 10 minutes before the incident. She says this straight-A model student hasn't had a single discipline problem in his 3-year history at the school.
They shouldn't be able to do that to any child, but this is a 16-year-old, and that the force that was used in his private area, it sort of is concerning to me.
Now, police in the 22nd District tell us they are looking into this, and a possible internal affairs investigation may be launched in the coming days. But police also tell me that at the 8 hours that boy was in custody, he never complained, never reported any injuries. We're live in Spring Garden tonight. Chris O'Connell, Fox 29 News.
All right, Chris, thank you. A 16-year-old.
Did perhaps he think that complaining to the cops who had just ruptured his nuts was, maybe a fruitless endeavor? Yeah. Maybe he had to keep his mouth shut before somebody does something worse?
Yeah.
Jeez, this is just horrendous. And an internal affairs investigation, I'm sure the officer is, suspended with pay, and they'll find they did nothing wrong. It was all according to procedure. Oops, popped your nuts. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, did anyone notice the mom's name was IKEA? I'm just noticing. But anyway, there you go. And that's just because we've gotten to this point where the war on drugs has forced, we've seen the stats from Philadelphia. The folks at Philly Normal have worked hard to try to get it so that the kids aren't arrested and busted. It was something like an 81% bust rate for African Americans compared to white folks in Philly. I think it was something like that. It was a very, very high number with respect to marijuana busts. Only legalization goes far enough to start affecting things like this, folks. Hey, when we come back, we'll show you that video from Peachtree Normal. Talk a little about legalization in the South. Stick around.
You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Cannabis Outreach Collective is an alternative health and wellness option located in Gladstone, Oregon, that serves patients in the Portland area and beyond. We are a full-service alternative health and wellness collective accommodating patients with natural, organic, holistic, and homeopathic remedies, nutritional guidance, advice, education, and medical cannabis, fully in accordance with Oregon OMMP law. You can find out more about Cannabis Outreach Collective on Facebook at COC503 or by emailing cannabisoutreachcollective503@gmail.com. or by telephone at 503-853-1319. Check out our menu on Weed Maps and visit Cannabis Outreach Collective today. You can get 420 Radio on the go with the Ustream video app for Android and iPhone. Go to rad-r.us/420Ustream or just click the Ustream app icon for Android or iPhone below the live radio feed at 420radio.org. When you are starting up a medical cannabis business, you don't just want any attorney. You want a fired-up lawyer who understands the needs of cannabis consumers. The law office of Lauren Vasquez is your fired-up lawyer for the cannabis industry. Lauren Vasquez knows the details of California marijuana law from both a personal and professional angle. Lauren Vasquez rose from the ranks of college normal activists to become one of the Bay Area's best marijuana lawyers. Visit her website, fireduplawyer.com, or call 1-855-MMJ-LAWS for more information. That's 855-665-5297 for Lauren Vasquez, your fired up lawyer, or email fireduplawyer@gmail.com. The number again is 855-MMJ-LAWS, 855-665-5297 for your fired up lawyer, Lauren Vasquez. Lauren Vasquez is an activist attorney you can trust. Call today.
Herbal-minded. I'm a 85, 95 rider, you can catch it. Broke in the lockbox, why they want to test it.
Welcome back, everyone. 11 after the hour here at Toker Talk Radio. Coming to you live from beautiful Potland, Oregon in Rolla J Studios. Got Ryan the Red hanging out there.
Hey.
And Red Eyes Reggae Flashback tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, yeah. Found a new collection of music, so I've been picking from that for the last week. So you get a little bit different side of it. So
right on.
You know,
stay tuned for that, 8 p.m. Pacific, and then at 10 p.m. Pacific we have got Electric Bob's Boogaloo coming up.
Boogaloo,
new Boogaloo. So check it out. Also in the world of promos, we got to give a shout out to our friend Justin James Bridges.
Oh, yeah.
We've played his music here on the show many times. He's a local artist here in Portland with the Patchwork Family Band is part of what he's doing. And he wanted to let us know about the Cannabis Common Sense Tour and fundraiser at the Pub at the End of the Universe, 4107 Southeast 28th Avenue in Portland. And this is a tour to raise some money for the Cannabis Common Sense Tour. You know more about this?
Yeah, if you go to CannabisCommonSenseTour.com, it says the mission of the tour is to help bring about an end to the prohibition of cannabis and hemp. And it says to accomplish this, they need to bring like-minded activists together with talented musicians and artists to stimulate the national conversation around cannabis and hemp while documenting this historic moment. So basically they're going to be going around to a bunch of different towns across our beautiful country here, and just raising money for awareness. And you know, you can become a host or sponsor for a local event if you want. You can just go to their website, CannabisCommonSenseTour.com, or check it out on Facebook, Cannabis Common Sense Tour Fundraiser.
All right, looking good. And also, speaking of looking good, we have got our friend Sharon Ravert, Georgia Mom for Marijuana, Peachtree Normal.
Yay.
Yeah, who is yes, we all love Sharon. Who has been gathering signatures for a petition to ask the Georgia legislature to legalize marijuana, and came to them with a poll showing 62% support for decriminalization in the state. And just kicking ass and taking names generally. So there's some video we have for you from the station there in Atlanta. Let me get this centered up for us here, and we'll just take a look at Sharon Ravert and the crew. I'm sure there's some others in the video. I haven't seen the video yet, but take a look. From My Fox Atlanta.
Capitol today, all in favor of legalizing cannabis. The group wants lawmakers to pass a bill to make it legal for Georgians to smoke pot as a pain reliever and alternative to prescription pills. Scott Kimbler with All News 106.7 was there.
The rally today at the state capitol was a group of more than 100 strong asking for the legalization of medical marijuana use. The demonstrators, for the most part, say they want marijuana legalized for medical use to treat seizures, pain, and other extreme ailments. After the rally, the group delivered a petition to the offices of the governor and the lieutenant governor.
For me, it's a better choice because the pharmaceuticals are so addictive and they can ruin your life. It's a vicious cycle, being on narcotics for pain, and the marijuana just works better. And it's not harmful to my health.
I'm hearing stories, compelling stories about people with medical problems who feel that those medical problems can be alleviated if they had access to treatments that are derived from marijuana that are currently barred under existing Georgia law.
That's a viable option to me. That's like
the equivalent of saying, do you want to open an opium den in your neighborhood? No. No, nobody's going to want to do that. Are you okay with a doctor prescribing opiate-based pharmaceuticals? Yes.
McCoon says there is growing support for legalizing marijuana for medical use, but he doubts that Georgia will ever have lenient marijuana laws like those now in Colorado. From the Legislative Office Building, Scott Kimbler, All News 106.7 for Fox 5 News.
So discussion happening, but again, taking it with a bit of a more conservative bent there in the state of Georgia. 62% support for decriminalization, though, shows that the people there in the South are beginning to recognize that jails aren't the answer. And Georgia, of course, that follows the poll numbers that we're getting out of Florida, where they've got something like 82% support for medical marijuana. More information on this Georgia bill, the fellow that you just saw there, the McCoon, I think was his name, was in favor of a medical marijuana that's the Alephsia only. And I wrote a piece on this about how these lawmakers are abandoning medical marijuana bills. This is specifically New York, Pennsylvania, Alabama, and I think Kentucky, where there were lawmakers who were trying to get medical marijuana in the past, and they've never gotten a hearing. So they've given up on medical marijuana, and now they're switching their attention to this CBD only medical marijuana, which is great for the kids with epilepsy or kids with epilepsy who need this Alephsia stuff. Not so good for the cancer patients who need THC. Not so good for the PTSD patients who need the THC and so forth, right? And it's part of, what I've hypothesized in the Box Canyon theory is that the only direction medical marijuana can go is to get more and more restrictive. People keep talking about, baby steps. We got to take baby steps, which is fine, but the baby steps are supposed to get longer, not shorter. Baby steps aren't supposed to revert back to crawling. And that's what's happening now as we look at places like Utah and Florida and Georgia and these more conservative states where medical marijuana is not even on the table now. Mm-hmm. North Carolina might have been another one of those states. It's not even on the table now. Now it's only CBDs on the table. So it's that Zeno's paradox, that incrementalism where the increments are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Well, they won't accept medical marijuana. How about CBD only? Oh, well, they won't accept CBD only. How about if it's just CBD only, just for kids, just in rare circumstances? I mean, it's just going to get more and more narrow.
Only between 4 and 6 p.m. while you're in a basement chained to a radiator and wearing a mask that looks like a pig.
It's like in New Jersey, for example, where to get it, even just to get the kid on the medical marijuana program, they got to go see a doctor who's on the doctor registry. The doctors have to register.
Yeah.
Then they have to see a pediatrician who's on the registry.
Yep.
There's like 100 of them. And then they got to find a psychiatrist there's like 100 of the psychiatrists, like 2 of the pediatricians that are on the registry. They got to get 3 opinions just to get the kid a medical marijuana card, and then can't get the Alephsia that he needs because it's so restricted.
And plus 3 opinions from people who are putting their entire career on that recommendation.
Especially in a restricted state there.
They're risking their entire livelihood, their entire practice sometimes, to recommend something that would save this child's life, which she won't be able to get anyway.
And of course, you can't oppose it. I don't make the Box Canyon theory to say, nope, if they propose CBD only bills, don't support them. No, that's not it at all. Of course, support them. How can you not support, helping some kid out with epilepsy?
Any step forward is still a step forward. But
what I'm saying is that the steps that will get us forward from this point on are increasingly going to be legalization steps, because the medical arguments are going to become split, right? As more and more cannaceuticals come to market, Sativex is in stage 3 trials. It's going to be hitting the market 2015 possibly, in time enough before the 2016 election. Mm-hmm. Once Sativex hits, we lose the multiple sclerosis patients. It's already been tested and approved for multiple sclerosis in a lot of other countries, and it's very effective. So why do the multiple sclerosis patients need to fight for it anymore? The only fight for it anymore, on a medical basis of fighting for the plant, is one of economics. Well, it's just cheaper for me to grow my own plants than to have this, $100 prescription or whatever it ends up costing.
Well, plus most people don't realize that there's a symbiotic effect between the cannabinoids and the terpenes, and you can't get that when it's just this plant extract that they've created in a lab. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's going to be a hard sell, but we have to make it. We have to make the sale. But I think the sale's made through legalization at this point. Well, now, speaking of legalization, it's 420 here in the West Coast.
Alrighty. Well, I got us a bowl of some hippie chicken.
Hippie chicken? I love these names.
Yeah, blueberry and Alaskan thunderfuck. Fire it up.
Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Hey, Tokers and Tokettes, Radical Russ here to introduce you to my friend Matt and all the staff at Lush LED Lighting. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED Lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. If you thought LEDs were meet the tech of today, Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Let's just say I appear at a lot of events with the masters of indoor horticulture, and the harvests I saw from Lush LED Lighting were big, tight, sticky, and very effective. Check out lushledlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Double your rewards and lower your expenses with Lush LED Lighting.
Let him bring in the beat.
Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, The Russ Belville Show, Ganja John, and Cascadia Concentrates, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Adam's meticulous designs are individually crafted and screened in vibrant, high-definition color. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Let him bring in the beat.
Fun.
Oh yeah, this is Big Daddy, and I want you to join me every Thursday night at the Funky Roller Rink, baby.
Engine number 9. Can you get me back on time? Move on down the track. Keep that steam coming out the stack. Huh. Keep on moving. Keep on moving.
Welcome back, everyone. 24 after the hour. That's some music from Amphibious Tongues. Smoke that feeling. A lot of folks are talking about the Super Bowl coming up, or as some of us are referring to the Super Bowl. So I wrote something up for Huffington Post that I just thought I would read because, everybody, the first thing I saw in the in the Twitter feed and on Facebook and all this were all these little, pictures and memes and themes coming up, Stoner Bowl, Stoner this, Stoner that. So I said, all right, let's just get it out of the way. Let the Stoner Bowl pot puns begin.
Okay, and you're going to have a drum roll for the countdown?
You just see if you can count how many there are in here.
Okay.
By now, the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks will be playing in the Super Bowl. You've probably also been made punfully aware that these are the 2 largest cities in the only 2 states that have legalized marijuana. This gives new meaning to the term Super Bowl, quipped Jay Leno before the matchup had even been set. Once Niners quarterback Colin Kaepernick's pass to the right corner of the end zone was bogarted by the Seahawks, the puns were blazing. Colin, you know you're supposed to pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side, right? This is no jive, and I'm going to be blunt about this. This Super Bowl gives us the hookup to gauge this country's spark to legalize marijuana to a T. Stoner Bowl, Loda Bowl, Alpaca Bowl, Green Bowl, Doobie Bowl, the Real Bud Bowl, Smoke-a Bowl. When late-night hosts and USA Today are joking about it, the drug czar seems more like a moralizing buzzkill than the protector of America's youth. President Obama seems to be evolving on legalization as he did with letting gays marry. Wanna bet that more than a quarter of the states are green with envy at $1 million a day in marijuana sales in Colorado, taxed at 10% plus 15% plus state and local sales tax? Every pot pun reference to marijuana legalization in the haze of 2 weeks of Stoner Bowl hype is another day closer to prohibition going up in smoke. Had enough? Try and concentrate. I'm about to shatter the U.S. journalism high for most pot pun references per word. You can't keep a lid on me. To Super Bowl 420, featuring the Seattle THC Hawks and the Mile High Denver Broncos, brought to you by Bud Light, Miller High Life, and every fast food outlet there is. Ladies and gentlemen, here to sing our national anthem at 4:20 p.m. Mountain Time, Lady Gaga, Rihanna, and Miley Cyrus. Seriously, the Super Bowl kicks off 10 minutes after 4:20 in Denver. Now, off to the coin toss with honorary captains Earl Campbell of the Oilers, Bud Grant, Joe Green, Trent Green and Ed Budd of the Chiefs, and the Jets' 1981 defensive line, the New York Sack Exchange. The Mile High Broncos win the toss but are plagued on their opening series by calls for holding. This probably stems from seeds of doubt about the long-term employment prospects for the guards. Peyton Manning eventually passes the bomb around his circle of receivers, only to be denied by the THC Hawks, dropping into a dime on 4th and 20, with safeties meeting at the point of the catch. On to the halftime show, featuring Willie Nelson, Snoop Dogg, the Black Crowes, Cannabis Corpse, the Cottonmouth King, Cypress Hill, and of course, very special guests, wait for it, the Doobie Brothers! In the second session, the THC Hawks are rolling Marshawn Lynch between the hash marks. The frigid Giant Stadium is no hotbox, and it puts pressure on the knee joints. Just as Russell Wilson is in the shotgun, the O-line gives up a fat sack. Both teams are playing on grass, making it easier for linebackers to stalk the halfback who leaves the backfield on a zip route. In the end, these two teams were cashed. The score was tied with 4:20 remaining. It came down to the THC Hawks kicker who, not to wax eloquently, was like Buddha as he nailed the winning kick as the clock snuffed out. The Stoner gods were kind to Seattle as Denver was shorted 7-10. There, mainstream journalists, 80 puns and references to the devil's lettuce in a 630-word piece works out to a 12.7% pot pun rate. I don't think even you can beat that. I'm not talking to you, United Kingdom. So there you go.
That's good because I counted 82.
I might have had a reference in there I forgot. Who knows?
Yeah, you missed one.
But you can catch that one up at Huffington Post. I posted that. It's up on their sports section.
Oh, lols for days.
And I have to give shout outs to Ngaio Belam. I stole a few of his puns.
Yep.
And to Kip Adada. If you don't know who Kip Adada is, he did a song once called Wet Dream. It's one of them Dr. Demento songs. You ought to look it up. It's a song called Wet Dream, and it's all about fish. And the whole song is fish puns. Yeah, like 3.5 minutes of fish puns. It's awesome. Kip Adada.
Do you like fish sticks?
Of course I like fish sticks.
What are you, a gay fish?
What? How come you keep asking if I like fish sticks?
It's okay, Kanye. No.
I like fish sticks. Sometimes I put them in my mouth.
Yeah,
I eat them.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with fish sticks. All right. So the other story people are talking about right now is something I caught on Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel last night, talking about NFL and marijuana. And it was pretty remarkable. Here is the preview. I've got the preview for it. And let me give you a look at that. And then we'll talk a little bit more about this episode. It was really, really good. Come on now. You can play. Go right ahead. I dare you.
I know you can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
It wants to play. It really does. I swear. All right. Well, we'll just reload it and see what happens.
Some videos don't play nicely.
Not being very cooperative, Huffington Post, are we? All right. Let's try this again. But the player is a former player for the Denver Broncos. His name is Sean Jackson, and he was a wide receiver. So let's see if this will work now.
Go, HuffPo.
There we go.
Pain is a constant. You're always battling your body. I mean, just imagine the job description is slamming yourself into another human being as hard as you can, over and over again.
Let's have the body inventory list of injuries.
Broke my tibia in my left foot, tore my MCL in my right knee, tore my groin in my left leg, tore my hamstring off with the bone on the right leg twice, cracked rib, broken fingers, had surgery on the shoulder, separated this shoulder, and then neck, concussion, lower back trauma, cumulative trauma.
How viable is marijuana as a pain-killing alternative?
For me personally, very viable. I prefer it. Marijuana was something that helped me as the season wore on. My body would start to break down. I was in a lot of pain.
I was talking to one of your peers, and when I mentioned to him the notion of pot for pain-killing purposes, he rolls his eyes and he goes, you know what? You smoke pot because you want to get high. I don't want to hear about it as a painkiller. Viability to that?
I don't agree. It offers relief. I don't know exactly why, but it doesn't hurt as much.
Chris Cluey was a punter in the NFL from 2005 through earlier this season.
How much does marijuana use cross cultural lines, social lines, age, you name it, in the NFL?
Everywhere. I mean, it's, you know, guys from the East Coast, guys from the West Coast, guys from the Heartland, guys from the South.
Is it something that's talked about in the locker room?
It's not like, you know, there's the smokers corner where everyone goes and talks about, you know, hey, what strain did you smoke last night? It's more, you know, guys will be talking and be like, you know, yeah, I smoked a bit last night, and yeah, it helped me feel better. You know, in the locker room when guys talked about it, it wasn't about, you know, I'm going to go get blazed and tear up the town. It was like, yeah, I smoked a bit and then I went and passed out on the couch because I felt like crap after practice.
So that's the Real Sports with Brian Gumbel was on yesterday, and they'll have a lot of replays of that on HBO. I'd recommend, if you got HBO, to check that out, and I'm sure somebody will post it online somewhere, somehow. But really amazing that this is becoming the mainstream. And it wasn't just the pain relief part. The other part of this special, the reporter there went to Israel and talked with Raphael Mechoulam, who of course is the researcher who discovered THC back in 1964 and has been working, you know, nonstop on it ever since. Knows more about THC and cannabinoids than maybe anyone on the planet. And he showed them mice from his research, right? They've been doing this research with mice where they mess up their brain on purpose, right? Here we got this little thing here. We'll mess up this mouse's brain. And they had this mouse that's brain was messed up on the left side. And that meant that its right side lateral movement was no good, right? Its right foreleg was a useless appendage for the most part. So they put the mouse on this little thin piece of wood that's got to crawl across a bucket, right? And the left side of the mouse is working just fine. You know, it's gripping the sides of the stick and moving itself along. But the right side of the mouse can't grip. It's kind of, the leg is like, you know, flopping around. And the poor thing, you know, can't really move. And then they show another mouse had the same thing done to its brain, but then treated with THC. Now, this mouse was no, you know, super mouse or anything, but it could move. It could walk across the thing. It could actually move. It is a little messed up in the right-hand side, but much better than the other mouse. And so they asked Dr. Mechoulam about this, and he's saying, yeah, this is a treatment for concussion. This is helping. And they say, well, how much does it stave off? You know, how much of the brain does it save? And he said, just flat out, 50%. 50% of the damage done by a concussion or done by traumatic brain injury can be fixed, can be reversed, can be prevented through the use of THC, through the use of inhaled cannabinoids immediately after the trauma. So the reporter ends up talking to this guy who is like the NFL director of drug testing or something like that. I forget what he was. And she's asking him all these questions, why these players are, medical marijuana states. There's like 10 teams, I think, that are in medical marijuana states, 2 teams that are in legalized states. And why can't they use marijuana? And he just keeps going back, well, that's, negotiated between the NFL and the players, and it's against our collective bargaining agreement, and marijuana use shall not be tolerated. Well, what about them that say it's better for pain? Well, we would ask them to go to their doctors, their team doctors, who will help them with pain management, but marijuana use is not to be tolerated. So she gets to the point of, hey, we talked to this guy in Israel, and he's telling us that it can be medicine for concussion. There is no medicine for concussion. There's medicine for pain relief after you've gotten a concussion, but nothing that actually fixes the concussion, that helps the brain. Here's marijuana that looks like, and they asked, would this, what translates to the mouse brain, would it work in a human brain? He goes, yeah, absolutely. Mouse brains and human brains aren't all that different. And the NFL guy is forced to say, well, we support all developments in medicine and maybe someday in the future, but at this point, it's against our rules. It's like, my God, NFL just paid out $765 million in a settlement over concussion. And here's something that could be saving these guys' brains. And they want to go slow on this? They want to hem and haw on this? This is just insane. There ought to be volcano vaporizers on the sidelines of every NFL game. And everybody gets his bell rung. Ought to be given a vapor bag and sent to the locker room. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we've got the Chief of Operations of the Drug Enforcement Administration freaking out over marijuana legalization. You'll want to see this. It's Toker Talk Radio.
It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, why they won't let us grow. It's simply business.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
It's simply business. It's simply business. It's simply business, why they won't let us grow. It's simply business. It's simply business, why they won't let us grow. It's simply business. Smoking man.
Wood Pipe Smoke Shop and Speakeasy is your source for cannabis community gear in southern Wisconsin. Owners Brian and Tammy Wood are located in Kendall, just outside of Madison, and they've got everything for the smoking enthusiast, including a full assortment of pipes, water pipes, hookahs, bubblers, one-hitters, and so much more. They're open noon to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and can help you with your detoxification therapies as well. Call 608-466-7473 or email woodpipes@yahoo.com for more information. That's 608-466-7473 or email woodpipes@yahoo.com. And as always, go Pack Go.
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420.
In the afternoon, if I'm home, I smoke marijuana.
You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
Oh, marijuana, yeah, yeah. Oh, I got my ganja.
420 Radio is 24-hour marijuana legalization radio.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little confusing to me. All these people sitting on their high horses, looking down on us for smoking the plant, growing a plant. Well, I believe in nature's laws. I just want to be free.
Welcome back, everyone. 40 after the hour, music from the Cottonmouth Kings. That's Proud to be a Stoner. Having ourselves a good time here on Toker Talk Radio, hanging out with Brian the Red.
Yeah.
He's getting ready for the Reggae Flashback tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific Live. We got all sorts of great reggae music coming up.
Oh, it's gonna be a showstopper.
A showstopper. We've also got video for you from testimony of the Chief of Operations of the Drug Enforcement Administration at Congress, freaking out about marijuana legalization. And you know, I love a good freak out. So we're going to switch to video right now. Enjoy.
You're the senior DEA official in charge of enforcement, and the department announced that they weren't going to enforce some drug laws in states that voted to have other type of marijuana policy, and a lot of this is finding its way into my state of Iowa, even though their state laws say it can't happen. What's your view on the department's new policy?
Thank you, Senator. The department put out a policy by which the U.S. attorneys and prosecutors would consider there are 8 different factors in prosecuting cases relative to marijuana. Marijuana is a Schedule I controlled substance. It's illegal. So we're still enforcing the law. But I will tell you, I'm glad you asked me that, Senator, because I have to say this. I've been 27 years as a DEA agent, 34 years in federal government, a father of 6 great kids, and a wife who's hung out with me for 32 years. I've been serving the country since I'm 18 years old. I have to tell you this. And I served in the great state of California for 9 years as a new agent. And I went with you to Redding, California. You don't remember, there was more hair here, when we established an office up there for meth. I must tell you this, because it would be wrong for me to tell you. Going down the path to legalization in this country is reckless and irresponsible. The department has set up factors, sir, and I get that. I'm talking about the long-term impact of legalization in the United States. It scares us. The treatment people are afraid. The education people are afraid. Law enforcement is worried what is going to happen. In every part of the world where this experiment has been tried, it has failed time and time again. And here we are. The voters have decided to do this. It's going to impact the state, the surrounding states, and California's done it, ma'am. You know that. California's turned around and done a lot of great things, what they're doing, what they're seeing, and I wish some people would take example of what's happening. There are more dispensaries in Denver than there are Starbucks.
I think you're telling me that federal law ought to be enforced.
What I'm saying, sir, is the idea somehow that people have in our country, and to the extent that some legislators do, county elected officials do, that this is somehow good for us as a nation, sir. That this is good for the next generation of Americans coming up is wrong. It is a bad thing. And this body will get its door knocked on 10 years from now and say, how did we get where we get? People are going to ask us 10 years from now, how did we get where we're getting? And can I just put it in context with Afghanistan? At the International Drug Enforcement Conference that was held in Moscow, which is a planning and an operational meeting that we have every year, where we partner with new partners. Last year, we were in Moscow, 100 different nations. Can I tell you, we're sitting there, the administrator and I meeting with everyone, whether they be political leaders or law enforcement leaders. Almost everyone looked at us and said, why are you doing this? You're pointing the finger at us as a source state, and yet you turn around. I have no answer for them. I don't have an answer for them. I just don't. In 27 years ago, working in Washington Heights as a young agent, senior agents told me we could never work with Colombia. 27 years later, we have Algerians going to Colombia for best practices. I apologize for my excitement, but this is a bad experiment. It's a bad experiment, and it's going to cost the United States in terms of social costs. It's going to cost us in criminality. We have, ma'am, you need to know this. We have organizations. We just took it down in Bakersfield, and a group that took a marijuana dispensary as a front to launder its meth proceeds. We not great case with San Francisco DEA, Bakersfield, Columbia, and Miami. This is the more I'm worried about. The more states that it happened to, they're going to come. You're going to demand from me. You're going to demand from DEA. How are you going to stop that? People think that DEA and law enforcement officers around the world are interested in Billy and his bong and his basement. We're not. We never have been. That's his mother and father's problem. That's not the federal government's problem. That's not Jimmy Capper's problem in DEA. That's a mom and dad problem. What I'm interested in, what DEA has always been interested in, is the trafficking groups that want Billy to be puffing on his bong, the groups that are selling dope to our kids because they live off the backs of addiction. That's what they want. And I think sometimes get lost because there's been great things that have been done here in the United States. Been tremendous things that have been done here. But sir, you asked a question that's really, to some extent, not been answered. It's not been addressed. Ma'am, I know you have. I know you both have. But going down this road, so getting back to the department has given us factors on which prosecutors to prosecute cases. And by the way, we've never gone after, and have done that because people thought we're going after small-time traffickers. I've been DEA for 27 years, never arrested an addict, and I don't have any small-time traffickers that we don't have time for that because we're dealing with things like this on a global scale. I apologize for my
I'm going
excitement.
to submit my questions for, three more questions for answer in writing.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. So
Thank you,
would you
Senator.
folks answer some questions I submit in writing because I have to go? Thank you.
Thank you
And
very
thank
much,
you all for
Senator
your
Grassley.
participation.
Let me just address Mr. Capper's
I think I'm going to
statement,
stay and
which
listen to what you say.
I see one of great law enforcement frustration, and I tend to agree. I oppose the legalization of marijuana in California with most of law enforcement. We beat it back that time. Whether we'll beat it back the next time, I have no clue. I believe that it is the wrong thing to do socially. I believe that it is a gateway drug. I believe that it leads to other things, and the fronting for methamphetamine is one of them. It's one thing to use it with a doctor's prescription to ease pain, particularly in a terminal situation. I understand that. And there are probably components of certain kinds of marijuana that can be used to treat babies medically. We're seeing that happen. But to say it should be used socially on an ongoing and robust basis, and I think, your analogy that there are more marijuana stores in Denver than Starbucks is an interesting one.
No, it's an invalid one, Senator Feinstein. There are not more marijuana stores in Denver than there are places to get coffee. This is the thing that always bothers me, man. There's more marijuana stores than Starbucks. Yeah, but how many places are there to get coffee? It's an apples and oranges comparison just used to scare people. And I'm glad we got to see that DEA guy say that he doesn't have a problem with Billy and his bong in his basement. Billy and his bong in his basement are just fine. We don't have a problem with the people that are using marijuana. We've never actually gone after people that are using marijuana. We just want them to have to get it from criminals. Because then we have people to bust, the traffickers and the growers.
Yeah.
We're interested in the people that are trying to get the marijuana to Billy's bong. The ones who don't check Billy for ID, right? This is the thing, is they are losing this battle because they don't have an answer for the marijuana market. If what they were proposing had a shot in hell of reducing use, eliminating marijuana, stopping it in any way, then there might be some logic to their point. But we've done it their way for 40 years now. And more people smoke marijuana. And the use rates of marijuana among youth rise and fall, whether it's legal or illegal. So if we reach the point after 4 decades where we've recognized that this ain't going anywhere, that there will always be adults who like to smoke pot, there'll always be kids who like to smoke pot, there'll always be people growing pot and people selling pot, what's the best answer? And the only answer this guy can come up with is it needs to remain illegal so we can go bust people. It needs to remain illegal so we can, use helicopters to go chop down weeds in the forest. They don't have an answer for any of those things. And that's the point that they keep missing. And that's why they continue to lose, is that they keep coming back trying to convince the American people how harmful pot is. And the American people are past that. They're like, well, yeah, I mean, some people become stoners and never contribute to society, but some people become drunks and never commit to society, Some people are sober and never contribute to society. The question is, what is the effect of the policy we've got right now? And it's detrimental, and everyone's recognized that. Yeah. So these ideologues, these guys like Senator Grassley from Iowa and Senator Feinstein from California, a Republican and a Democrat who can find agreement in the idea that marijuana is bad and we ought to bust people that use it. She was against Prop 19, in California because law enforcement was against it.
Well, I don't think they can imagine a world that survives without a black market of marijuana.
Yeah.
It's not in their thought process. They can't imagine it in their wildest dreams, that we could actually get along, and have it be a marketable crop that we can grow ourselves, instead of, and have it above market and all tracked and have it taxed and, every step of the way. They can't imagine that. They can't imagine, people who want, they like smoking crude plant matter. Oh, we can't believe anything they want. It's ridiculous.
But that's the thing, is they can't get past the idea that it has to be illegal. Mm-hmm. It has to be officially disapproved of and something we can punish you for doing.
Yeah, for that.
Even when they talk about how what would happen if we legalize, they'll say, well, even if you legalize, it'll have to be taxed, and then the black market will come in and it'll price it so it's lower, so that they'll undercut it, so that the kids they'll sell to the kids. So you mean it would be bad to go from a black market that has 100% of the sales to everybody at top price to a black market that has much less of the sales and has to sell at a lower price?
Reduced.
That would be a bad thing.
That'd be a bad thing for society.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back and close up the show. And then top of the hour, you're going to get yourself an episode of Free Weed. Free Weed.
The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at RadicalRuss.com.
This is Radical Russ, encouraging you to take a look at the Weed Blog every day. Johnny Green and the staff at the Weed Blog are on top of all the latest developments in the fight to end marijuana prohibition nationwide. You can even get the Weed Blog on your smartphone by installing the Weed Blog app for iPhone and Android. If it's about weed, it's on the Weed Blog, including my original writing. So don't delay. Read the Weed Blog today. Professionals Against Prohibition with Jen Jackson from Raleigh, North Carolina. Every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Eastern, and 4 p.m. GMT, right here on 420radio.org. Marijuana and alcohol are the two most popular recreational drugs in America. Marijuana smoking is non-toxic, relatively safe, and has a low risk of dependence. Alcohol drinking is potentially fatal, dangerous to society, and is quite addictive. Marijuana is safer, so why are we driving people to drink? That's the question of the new book, Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink? By Paul Armentano, Mason Tvert, and Steve Fox.
Visit Amazon.com or ChelseaGreen.com today to order your copy of Marijuana is Safer, or visit marijuanaissafer.com.
Cannabis.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We just have a little bit of time here at the end of the show for us to close things up. And a quick reminder on tomorrow's show, it'll be our Cops Say Legalized Drugs segment. John Baker from Law Enforcement Against Prohibition will be joining us. We hope you will join us as well. Coming up next at 5 p.m. Pacific, we got Free Weed with Danny Danko from High Times Magazine. At 6 o'clock, a replay of our first hour. At 7 o'clock, a replay of our second hour. And then at 8 o'clock, you'll get Red Eyes Reggae Flashback. That's right.
A brand new show tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific, and I hope you can join me. I've got, I had a newer collection, well, different collection. I wouldn't say newer, but different collection of reggae to pick from this week. So,
looking forward to that. Then at 9 o'clock, another replay of Hour 1. And at 10 o'clock, the new Electric Boogaloo, Electric Bob's Boogaloo will be available at 10 o'clock. So check that out. And if you want to catch our entire schedule at 420 Radio, just go to 420radio.org/schedule. There's a Google Calendar up there. Should appear in your time zone, so you'll know when your favorite shows are on. Every show gets at least 3 replays a week. Some of them get more. But check out the schedule and you can learn more about it. If you're interested in getting a show on 420 Radio, just let me know. Head to the contact page, 420radio.org/contact, and look in the drop-down list for I Want a Show, and I'll tell you how we can add you to our spring lineup that we will be setting in March.
All right.
There we go. So just winding up the show here, and what else we got going on? Oh, yes, Big Daddy Fink's on tomorrow, Thursday, and then we've got...
we still didn't announce who won the magazine.
The prize, that's right. Let's get to that.
Jeez. Okay, geez.
We had our Fan Friday thing. Our Fan Friday trivia contest we did a couple of weeks ago.
Started off as a weekend thing, made its way to a week thing. We kind of forgot about it, put it on the shelf.
So I announced the contest on Friday, and then the next week, because I didn't post the Friday show in time, we made the rest of the week time for everyone to be able to get their trivia questions answered. And then that Friday was the Kevin Sabet appearance, so we didn't announce who the winner was. And then the next Monday was Martin Luther King Day, and then Tuesday, and so here we are. We're going to finally announce our winner. And let's see, we get our drum roll, please. All right, our winner is Gregory Holmes. That's right, Gregory Holmes. You are the winner. Greg Holmes, we sent you your March 1975 edition of High Times Magazine. It's going by way of priority mail, so it might even be to you already. We also included some stickers, a card, a poster, and our thanks. So thanks for supporting 420 Radio. We'll have another...
having the right answer.
And having the right answer, which, by the way, the trivia question was, what is the first name of the founder of Normal?
And most people think that it's Keith. But it is
Russell. Russell Keith Strop.
There you go.
R. Keith Strop. And yeah, he goes by his middle name just like I do. My first name is not Russ. My first name is John. So there you go. So we will have another trivia question on Friday, and you can win the next High Times. Did you give that next one? It's the girl, wasn't the Inuit girl on the cover, I believe. Is that the one? Here we go. So this is the August-September 1975 first anniversary issue. The first anniversary issue of High Times Magazine.
Oh, my God.
Alaska goes legal, and you got the Inuit girl there smoking some weed. And it has an interview with Andrew Weil. It's the golden days of cocaine wine, dope in Canada, Kathmandu hash dens, Lebanese royal oil. You got an oil picture in here.
Yeah, oil, huh?
Let's see. Concentrates. G. Gordon Liddy's Killer Narc Squad. So there we go. You can check that out. This will be our prize on Friday. Tune in Friday for our Fan Friday Trivia Contest. That's all the time we got here for today. Thanks for joining us. Danny Danko's up next. For Brian the Red, I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you